welcome to No Filter. I'm Marthea.
And I am Bobby Jare. And we have a question for you guys. How's your mental health?
How is your mental health?
Yes.
We just want to sit and ask.
So we're going to sit here and we want you guys to talk. Just talk to your screen.
Put it down below. Put it down below how your mental health is.
Yes. You know, that's something that I feel like more people need to stop and ask people, how's your mental health? Mm-hmm. Because I think I forgot where I've seen people saying it before, but a lot of times, you know, we talk about sicknesses and things like that, like, you know, diabetes and all those, blood pressure and cholesterol and stuff like that. And it's like we want to make sure that all that stuff is good, but we're not asking people, how's your mental health? Like recently, my job, like it's been a lot. You know, if you guys watched the first episode for this season, this is episode 2. I was dealing with a lot financially and stuff like that, and so like with work, at one point I was just like, I can't do this because like right now, everything y'all asking me to do is not conducive for my mental health because I can't pay my bills because I don't have the hours when I'm trying to explain that. It's like they weren't comprehending that. So I'm like, mentally, I was not in a good space. And I'm like, maybe I need to remove myself from this environment in order to get there. So for you, one, how is your mental health right now? And what are you doing to make sure that you are in a good place mentally?
My mental health is at about a 5 right now. And I say a 5 because I'm not going to let myself just completely just sink. But it's just so much going on. I'm such an empath. And so I feel a lot of things, but it's at a 5. And so what I'm doing is just kind of, like we talked about, just checking in with myself a lot. Like just to fill it out, writing things down, putting pen to paper, my emotions, my feelings, just because I don't want it to just stay bobbled in my mind. I have to get it out. If I'm not gonna talk, you know, if I don't want to express it too much to my best friend or my family right now, then I put it down on paper. Let me just get it out. So it's at a 5 right now, but we're working on it.
So, you know, if I had to put mine to a number, I'd say like a 7.
Okay.
That's like really good. Like that makes me feel really good.
That's really
like,
good.
Makes me feel really
That's
good.
really good.
But you know, for you guys that are watching, with the date of this episode will be posted on the 9th, I think, of June.
Yes, that is the 9th.
So we're filming this on the 28th of May. And this past week, so all of you, you know, you guys that are watching know what happened in Uvalde, Texas. 18-year-old young man went to a elementary school and, you know, shot up the school with an assault rifle. Several kids. Do you know the final numbers?
I think the final number was either 18 or 19, but that included the 3 teachers.
Okay.
I think it was 3 teachers, 3 teachers, and the rest were children. Well, his grandmother too.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
He killed his grandmother. So it was almost about 20, I want to say.
Yeah. So what went through your mind when you first heard it?
So what went through my mind was, it was a shooting last week. And that shooting didn't really get as much media attention as this one. So I was like, it's all bad, but the shooting that happened a week ago in New Jersey, I think, with a white guy, assault rifle, live. It was live streamed. But he killed predominantly black people. I was outraged because it should have been the same media attention for that situation. But then, you know, I'm like, man, all of it is bad. And so my heart goes out to the families. My heart goes out even to the family of the shooter, because they're grieving as well. It's just a sad time right now. It's a sad life. It's a sad world that we're living in right now. Every day, it's something.
And like I was doing something, and Emmanuel was telling me about it, what had happened, and at that time it was just breaking news, and like the count was rising over the time, and I think for me, a part of like my heart feels bad because I feel like we're getting used to this. We're getting desensitized to this, and we should not be able to just get up and keep going throughout our day and not feel some type of hurt and anger about what's going on. And yet we have to. We have to just keep going. And it's like, neither one of us have kids, but I'm thinking for the parents, other parents that had kids at that school, for other parents that got like young kids, it's not even young kids, just like people that have kids, period. They have kids, period, to think that you can't even send your kids to school. And I'm like,
it makes me be really concerned about having kids.
Yeah.
As much as I want to have kids, and in today's society, it makes me really scared. Like, do I even want to bring a child into this? Because, like you said, those parents, I think one interview or one article that I was reading, the mom had just left her son. They had an awards program that morning. So she had just left him an hour or two before what happened, and he's gone. Yeah. And that's why I say my mental health is at a 5, because I'm feeling these parents like, what do you do when you just send your kid? You're celebrating your child's accomplishment. Yeah.
And then
he's gone.
They're like babies, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you have, for me, I have nephews, so there's things that 2 of my nephews have bachelor's degrees. One of them has an associate's degree, and one of them he's getting ready to graduate high school next year. And so in my mind, I'm like, when I become famous, a couple of years ago, a couple of years ago, I was like, when I become famous, like, I'm gonna pay for them to go to college. Then I'm gonna put like a trust aside for them to go. So now I'm like, well, 2 of them already had their bachelor's. I'm like, if the third one wants to go, I'll pay for his bachelor's, and I'm gonna pay for my nephew. But it's like, I'm already planning what I'm gonna do for them when I have the time. Yes. So it's like, think of parents that have been planning their kids' futures, thinking of the time and the experiences they're gonna have with their kids, and to have that just ripped from them.
One dad, I think he was a medic, and he arrived at the school, and this is just a summary. One of his daughter's best friend had came out. She was covered in blood, and he was just like, "What's wrong? What's wrong?" And the little girl was like, "They shot my best friend. He shot my best friend." And the guy asked, "Who was it?" And it was his daughter. And he was on, they did an interview with him, and I cried so much for that father, because he was just like, that was my baby. Yeah. That was my baby. And he said that, like, her birthday was just on the 10th. They had finally got her a phone, and just, I don't know.
I think, like, a part of me, like, I don't want to watch a lot of it, because
you have to stop.
Yeah, it's like it gets to the point where it's like, I feel like I'm an empath, And when I'm hearing that and seeing these people, my heart breaks because there's nothing that we can do to ease that pain.
No.
There's nothing that we can do to change what they're experiencing in that moment. And it's one of those where it's like, I wouldn't wish this on anyone.
Mm-mm.
But yet we're living in a time where it's becoming the norm. There's like people somewhere sitting down, probably right now in this moment, that's making a manifesto to do something stupid. And it's like, when are they going to do something? Like, how can we change this? Like, what's going through that? Like this young man that did this, and I people say a terrorist, or call him a terrorist. Like, what was going through his mind in that moment when he not when it happened, but days before, or whatever before, like what was hurting him so bad that's how he had to act out. Like, how are people getting to that place in their life where they're that broken and angry at the world? For him to go, and when I say that, it's one of those things where I hope I don't say something I don't mean it to come across a certain way, but it's like, why would you go to an elementary school and do this? Not saying that he should have went to a high school or middle school, but it's like an elementary school?
What was your thought process to target these little kids?
Yeah, it's like, what, like them? Why them? You know? So it's hard to, one of those where, when we talked about in the last episode where it's like, do we deserve to be happy? And it's like, we're living in a world where when you're happy about something, but then you look at it as like, there's so much going on in the world, like I shouldn't be happy right now. You know what I'm saying?
You can't even enjoy your own happiness because of just the world and the way that it's going. I can be happy, going to the car, I'm driving on the freeway, and I look, oh, I need some gas. Go to the gas, I'm mad. It's just, go to the pump, I'm mad. Because I'm finna have to spend $60. But I think working on mental health, and I know you probably have more experience in dealing with people with mental health issues, but and you may know the correct term of it. But in dealing with mental health, I think a lot of these, and kind of analyze it from the different shooters. Mentally, they were broken as a child.
Yeah.
And I say, for anybody needing to deal with mental health, you have to fix those childhood roots.
Yeah. In episode 1, we talked about people not understanding how to get out of a dark place because if that's all they've seen. So when we think about when you were 13, 14, 15, 16 years old, the smallest thing made the world feel like it was ending. Like we started dating, like the boo don't call you back. Oh my God, they don't love me anymore. Like, you're 16 years old, you don't even know what love is. So like with this young man / terrorist, he was 18 years old. In his mind, he probably was thinking that whatever is so bad right now in my life, it's the worst thing I'm going to experience ever in my life. When I was 17, I took an overdose. Because I wasn't trying to kill myself, I just wanted to sleep. That was my mindset, I wanted to sleep. If death came from that, so be it. But my mindset was sleep. Thankfully, God said, you know what? It ain't your time, it ain't your time, bro. Like, I'm gonna let you rest. Like, I see you've gotten to the point where you need to rest. I'm gonna let you rest, but you need to get back up and keep moving. But it's like, here you have this child, this 18-year-old child, who turned into a terrorist because whatever he was dealing with was so bad in his mind. It may not have been that bad, but in his mind, it was so bad. But it's like when we're stuck in a dark place and that's all you know is this dark place, you feel like everything is on your shoulders. But, unfortunately, when we talk about mental health and how do we, get this message out to more people, we need to reach people like that. Somebody that's right now, that's on the edge and feel like I'm going to do something that I feel is going to relieve my pain.
But how do we know they're on the edge? Because take this 18-year-old. He sent he took a picture of the guns or something and tagged somebody on Instagram.
Okay.
She didn't know what he was getting ready to do. So even with that happening, how do you think she could have stopped him or prevented him from doing that?
So
how do we know?
I think we can't, like when we talk about behavior and other people's behavior, in situations like that, like we don't want people to grieve and feel like, oh, I could have done something, I could have changed something, because it's not our responsibility. If we're able to, we're able to, but in certain situations, we can't do anything about it. We don't know what a person is going through. So then that's where it goes to, like when we talk about mental health and how do we work on our mental health, it starts with us wanting to work on it. And I hope if y'all watching this video, go back and check out episode 1 entitled Checking In. Because, when we talk about checking in with yourself and understanding that something is wrong, but like, in Black community and it seems like in other communities, mental health is not talked about. It's not taught. So when a person is struggling, they think, okay, I'm going to take this route because this is what seems to be the easiest, and I'm in pain, so I want to cause other people pain. But it's like if you want to get to healing, you can take a different route to get to healing.
Yes.
So like with people like this young man / terrorist, if there are people that are out there that are struggling, that are going through that, like unfortunately, it starts with them. And if they don't see the light at the end of the tunnel or a crack in the wall to say there is some light out there, there's nothing that we can do. And when a person is struggling, we can say all day long, like, oh, Marthea, I want you to get better. Like, oh, you deserve so much more. But if you don't believe it, there's nothing I can do for you,
Right. I'm reading this book. It's either called Manifesting Love or The Manifestation of Love.
Okay.
But it deals with learning what your emotional poison is.
Okay.
As young kids, we start off knowing nothing but love, right? And so these factors come into play: how we are raised in the household, learning rejection based on something that happened with the father or a mother or your family, or just being out in school. That starts to deepen the wounds with this emotional poison to the point where we're adults living in not knowing how to effectively love ourselves, love other people, and to the point where I'm just on chapter 2. But it was so good to me because we start putting our emotional poison on other people.
Yes.
Because I'm not feeling good, because I feel rejected, because I feel disappointed, I'm about to put my poison on you. And I think that it takes wanting to educate yourself on mental health, knowing the signs of mental health, knowing what stage of stage your mind is mentally, to want to be better. And then when you are better, or just if you can feel, because I know we're both empaths, if you can feel that someone over there like is not doing good, how can we put ourselves on the back burner to reach out to that person so that they'll know? You don't have to go whatever route you were thinking about doing. Because I wonder, if we were to know him, would we be able to know that he's a terrorist?
So, in ABA, we talk about antecedents, behaviors, and consequences. So, antecedent is anything that comes before a behavior. Okay. So, when you add the behavior of pressing your brake in your car, if you're pulling up to a stop sign, if you're coming up to a stoplight and the light's yellow or the light's red, you're going to press on your brake. If a kid runs in front of your car, you're going to press on your brake. So the antecedent is that stoplight, that kid, that stop sign.
Something that triggers you
so
to
there's
stop.
Something that's happening before a behavior occurs. So a lot of times when, we talked about, being transparent. A lot of times, we tell people things. We say things. We do certain behaviors. It may not be as clear as, oh, I'm about to go do this heinous activity right now. But it's like when we talked about staying in bed all day and not cooking. If your best friend calls you one day and she's like, hey, what are you doing? And you say, well, I'm about to go to Taco Bell. I don't know if you eat Taco Bell or not, but so you don't eat Taco Bell, that's not one of your favorite?
I mean, it used to be one of my faves, but I'm on a healthy weight loss, healthy journey.
Okay, so look,
I did get the Mexican pizza though.
Ugh, I tried it once. But let's say that. So right now, let's say you've been on your healthy journey for 6 months, right? 6 months going strong. And one day your friend calls you and she's like, what are you doing? You're like, oh, I'm about to go to Taco Bell. And you're like, why are you going to Taco Bell? And she's like, you're like, well, because I want Taco Bell. In her mind, she may start to think, but you've been doing good. So for the last 6 months, you haven't had Taco Bell. You haven't wanted Taco Bell. But all of a sudden today, you want Taco Bell. Something must be wrong. And it's like like you, if me and you talking, and you tell me, oh, I just went to Taco Bell, I'm not gonna think anything of it.
Right.
Because you've shown that transparency and that vulnerability with her. So to her, that small act speaks volumes. And I think that when the people that are closest to us, when we engage in certain behaviors, like there's certain things that people look back and they say, okay, I did see them do this, but I just thought they were trying something different. Or I saw them engage in this behavior, but I didn't think anything of it because it was harmless. And that's like when we talk about using the word negative. A lot of times when we think of these people, like I'm showing this young man / terrorist, because I want to make sure I want to identify the fact that he was a young man, but he was also a terrorist. But it's like, I'm sure he was living his life normally, but something had to happen. Like when I think back to myself as, a teenager and being in school, I used to act out. Like I was bad. I remember I was I got mad. What was it? I can't remember what the exact word was, but we used there and there as an example. So we was in class and we was going over spelling words, and the teacher gave me a spelling word for, she was like, spell there. So I was like, say Their. And she's like, no, that's wrong. I'm like, hell no, that ain't wrong. Like, what you mean that's wrong? She's like, well, that's not the one I wanted you to spell. I'm like, well, you didn't tell me which one to spell. So I was like, man, she's like, well, you need to go stand outside. I'm like, I ain't want to stand outside. It was middle school, so it was like 7th or 8th grade.
Boy, them cuss words are
so she told me go stand outside the door and she gonna come talk to me. So I went and stood outside the door. About 5-10 minutes passed by. She didn't come outside. I'm like, no, I'm going to the office. I sent myself to the office. But it's like in that moment, I was frustrated because I got something wrong because it made me feel embarrassed. Like I didn't spell it wrong, but you're telling me I'm wrong.
You embarrassed me.
How am I wrong? But thinking back, especially when I say, now that I look back on it, I'm like, okay, I had dyslexia. So as a child, I wasn't aware of what dyslexia was. I just knew that I struggled. So for me, spelling a word in front of a class was already a hurdle for me. And then for me to get it right, but then you still tell me I'm wrong. I'm like it was a struggle for me to even have the confidence to do this, but you knocked me back down. But like when we look at it at the broader picture, now understanding I reacted that way because of the dyslexia, because of the fear of being in front of class and getting wrong in front of class. So when we look at how a lot of these individuals that do these type of behaviors, like there's something that's triggering that. There's something that's feeding into it that we may not even know. When we say like they're engaging in negative behavior, they may not be engaging in negative behaviors. It's just like uncharacteristic behaviors.
Do you think these shooters all have mental health issues? Because let's kind of go back to last week's incident in New Jersey with the white guy terrorist. I think he was 18 as well.
I think so.
But do you think mental health plays in a part in all of them? Ooh, Jesus, I'm hungry. Because he laid out, the one last week in New Jersey, he laid out everything in regards to...
manifesto?
Yes, he did the manifesto in regards to what he was doing. He went live.
Yeah.
He shot those people, and I watched it. He shot those people on live stream. And then, get this, it was a white guy in that store. He was laying down.
He walked over, right?
And yes, he told the guy sorry.
Yeah.
But yet this 80-year-old who's laying there, she's probably already deceased.
Mm-hmm.
You shot her again in the head. So do you think mental health had a play in him? Or do you think it has a play in a lot of them? Or is it just plain evil?
I think that, and this is my opinion, I guess, but like that level of hatred is rooted in a certain upbringing. So like when we talk about like conditioned behavior and learned behavior and things like that, like this is taught to someone. Mm-hmm. So when we talk about like the mental health aspect of it, there has to be some disconnect mentally for you to feel that this person isn't worthy of life. So, you know, like when we talk about like mental health, people want to disconnect it and say, okay, mental health means you're crazy. Mm-mm. Versus mental health means that there's something, a disconnect in the wiring of your brain and things like that. And
that's a stigma that we need to change too. That's the conversations that we need to have, because mental health, when especially in our community, it's not talked about, because I think it automatically goes to, oh, she crazy.
Yeah. So I think it's the thought process that goes into these acts of violence is mental. There's something mentally wrong going on. Them actually acting on the behavior is the hatred, all of that. So I think there's definitely like something mentally wrong. Like how can you get up and just mentally say this is okay? So
it's sickening. And then you have social media, who has hyped everything. I mean, all the mass shootings in the past. I think it was one who did a mass shooting, and he was like, I'm gonna be famous.
Yeah.
They look at that for notoriety, or, you know, like they did something. Even with the it was one who kind of emulated the Joker. He shot the movie theater when the Batman movies.
Just recent, or
no, it was a couple of years ago. But he went into the movie theater when the Batman movie had came out. Had the red hair and everything. He planned leading up. I mean, just planned everything. Even when the police found who he was and went to his house, he had set up like a bomb in the home. So a lot of the and I want to say this too. If we don't stop the discrimination in this world, like, I'm going to go crazy, because the white guy who killed the people in New Jersey, he's still living.
Yeah.
But yet the shooter of this week with the kids, he's dead. Yeah. That's another thing that weighs on my mental health, because I want to understand, like, why are the unarmed black people, now mind you, the one that shot up the school, he wasn't unarmed, but the black people who are unarmed, why are they dead? But these mass shooters who are predominantly black people who are being shot for being unarmed, but then you have these mass white shooters who they get
chauffeured out.
The shooting at the church with that guy, they gave him Burger King. So it's just. check on your mental health, y'all. I don't think it's gonna get any better.
The thing is, like, it's so clear and blunt that there's no way to deny what's happening, but yet it continues to happen. And for us, like, we can scream it all day long, but it's like, when are they going to listen? When are they going to make a difference? Excuse me.
It's a slap in the face because they are.
Your life is not valuable. Like,
it's not
we don't care about
valuable.
you.
And number two, they present it in the media as it's not a problem. There's no problem.
Yeah.
There's no systemic racism. There's none of this, but we see it.
Yeah.
And so, my black people, please take care of your mental health, because I think society and just the way that the things that we have to go through, I think that weighs more so sometimes for me mentally than the thing I'm going through, because I'm going through a lot, you know. But just seeing everything going on in the world, that weighs.
Yeah.
That it really, because it's like, y'all, we gotta do better.
And I think it's crazy because I feel like mental health, like, you know, the month of May is mental health awareness, and so everybody wants to post, oh, mental health awareness, and oh, you know, this, and they post these memes and things like that, but it's like, what are you actually doing? How are you actually trying to make a difference? And for the most part, there are so many people that aren't making a difference. Like, I remember I was on Twitter, and this guy made a big post about like how are you guys doing, like checking in with everybody and something like that. And so I purposely commented on there, and I was transparent about what I was going through. No response. So I'm like, are you doing it because you really care, or are you doing it to get likes and views and shares and comments, but you're not actually caring about what a person is going through? So I think that's where a lot of people struggle, where they don't want to reach out and talk to people because do they really care?
Right.
Do people really care? You know, when you ask a person how they're doing, we have this auto response of, oh, I'm good, I'm fine, yeah, all good, but deep down inside, we feel like, you know, we screaming and we struggling in the inside, but it's like, are you going to really listen? Are you going to really care about what I'm going through?
And I think that maybe the conversation around mental health and people being able to just really express their mental health can happen if we get out of self sometimes.
Yeah.
I think that we've become so self-absorbed that we can't even just take the time out to hey, something's not right. And it goes back to what you said about my best friend, you know, her calling in and saying, hey, you know, what's going on with the whole Taco Bell situation. I think that's because she took the time to learn how I was, who I am, what I've gone through. She took the time to learn me. Yeah. And I think in today's time, we don't take the time to really build bonds with other people. And that's where that fall comes in, where sometimes we may not even know how to reach out to somebody else because we don't even know how they handle things. So
I think a lot of like relationships and friendships are very surfaced, and that's where a lot of people struggle, because, you know, when we present ourselves to the world and to friends and family members, we want to present the best side of ourselves. But when we're not being vulnerable with people, they think, oh, you're strong. Like, you can be friends with somebody for 10 years, but if they've never seen that vulnerable side of you, they only think you're strong. They only believe that that's who you are, but not knowing that you're struggling. And I think for me, being able to understand, like, it took me a while, I think I was like at least 27, 28, where I kind of started to understand that other people were struggling too.
Right.
And it wasn't until I was starting to be transparent, that I started to understand other people were struggling. I still wasn't being I was being transparent, and I started to understand, but I wasn't being vulnerable. But it's like, now that I'm learning to be vulnerable, I'm understanding that, dang, like, people struggle just as much as me, like, or even in the same ways. And you know, when we did the mental health forum in Atlanta, one of the things that we talked about was, how does depression and anxiety and all of that look like for different people? And pretty much everybody was saying the same thing, that when they're at their worst, that's when they present themselves the best to the world. And so it's like, one of the things I learned in therapy was understanding that it's okay to be at 80%. It's okay to give 75% if all I have to give is 75%. But what I used to do, like, if it was like work, I would try to give 100% to work. Anything outside of that, relationships, friendships, like, I didn't have the energy, because I was trying to give it all to this one space.
To one thing.
Yeah, so they didn't see I was broken.
Right.
But then I had to hide myself from the other people. But it's like, how do you learn to give, if in this moment, all you have is 75% to give to these individual spaces, that's all you give, 75%. And it's like, I'd rather have a passing grade across the board versus a stellar grade in one area and failing in everything else. And so when we talk about mental health and being able to just identify where you are in your life and where you want to be, and how do we get from point A to point B, and understand that you may want to go from A to B, but you may have to hit E, F, G, X, Y, Z, then hit A again before you can just get to B.
And it's okay to ask for help. Now, and speaking from me, but
is that hard for you to do? Ask for help? Why?
Yes, it is hard. If I'm being transparent.
The name of the show is No Filter.
It is hard because I have pretty much had to do everything by myself anyway. I'm the only child. I grew up by myself. And so as I became an adult, of course you're learning how to be independent and everything. But when I asked for help, I got disappointed. So that's why I don't ask for help, because people, some of my family, they have their own lives. And it goes back to me saying some people just have to get out of self. Because even though I may be strong, it's not an issue to call in and be like, hey, I'm just checking in. That's why sometimes I may not reach out to some family. But I understand that some people have families and they're doing this and they're doing that. And I don't want to be a burden. So I connect to God. I connect to self. If I need to reach out to a family member, I used to reach out to my mom, but that's my issue. That's why.
I get that. So
everybody has their own thing they're doing. I get that. I understand. But if I really need help, don't be like, oh, well, let me see. Because I guarantee I won't ask you. No.
And that's the thing. So, when we talked about those routes. So, if you pick a certain route, you say, I'm going to go to this person. If that person don't help you, pull up that GPS and say, okay, let me put my directions in it. Let me put my destination in again, and let me find a different route. So a different route to different person. So like, let's say, like your side of town, you can take the Beltway to I-10 to 288, or you can take 52 at the Beltway to 59 to 610 to 45 to I-10 back to 59. Like, you can take all those different routes to get to your home, to where you want to be. And keep that in mind when you talk to one people. A lot of times we look at one person and say, okay, they didn't help me, so I'm done. There's 100 other people, but this one person let me down because maybe because they was the closest to you. And that's why it hurts the most. But then there are other people And then we also have to keep in mind, and this is something that like I, use an example of my mother when I was about 20 something years old. My grandmother on my dad's side, my dad's mom, passed away, and I wasn't close to their side of the family at all. And so we went to the funeral, and I don't know if I told this story or not, but my mom and my mom's sister went to the funeral, and we went there. My dad's sister's husband,
Okay.
he preached. And so while he was talking about my grandmother. He was like, yeah, she was an awesome mother-in-law. Whenever we needed something, she was always there. Like we were having issues, like she would listen to us, she wouldn't judge us or anything like that. And so on the way home, my mom's sister asked her, she was like, was she really that great of a woman? My mom's response was, oh yeah, she was a really good woman. Like she was a really nice woman. And I'm thinking to myself, and this 21 maybe at the time, growing up, I didn't go around my dad's side of the family. My mom, I was mama's boy, my mom didn't take me around that side of my family. My sister, she was 13 years older, so she grew up with them a little bit, and she would go because she was old enough to drive, and she would ask, hey, do you want to come? I'm like, I looked at my mom, I'm like, Mom, you want to go? She's like, well, I'm not going, but if you want to go, you could go. But I'm like, well, if you ain't going, I'm not going.
I ain't going.
And so it took me until I was in my 20s, because I had a lot of resentment, not knowing that side of the family. But in that moment when my mom was like, oh, she was a great woman, and she really was a nice person, I was like, maybe my mom was hurt. Maybe she was struggling to raise two kids on her own. Well, she had my older sister, but like when I was growing up, my older sister wasn't around. But it's like raising two kids on your own. You married to this man who isn't supporting you, who left you, who had other kids with other women, and it's like here you are trying to be the breadwinner. You're trying to raise two kids and raise a boy on your own. And it's like, for me, growing up, I didn't understand that. Now, as I look back, I'm able to say I get why she was hurt now. So I say that to say, a lot of times we go to other people and we want them to show up for us.
Yeah.
But where are they in their life? What season of their life are they in? What are they being transparent? Are they being vulnerable? Because there may be things just like we're hiding sides of us from them. They may be hiding something from us, and we're just looking at each other like, well, you ain't helping me, I'm going through this, but we're not willing to show what we're going through.
And I don't know if we're getting kind of off topic or whatever, but
we'll tie back.
No, I know but that's another thing in just knowing that, a person can be a support to another person. I mean, just being there for them, hey, is there anything going in, doing those check-ins, but being disappointed when it's not reciprocated. Yeah. So I understand knowing that person may be going through something, but dude, like I was there, I was trying to be a support to go through things with you whenever you needed to, whenever you needed. Where is my support in dealing with, life's issues and,
So, okay, two things. All right, so the thing that I had to learn, I don't know when I learned it, but Michelle said it in her book, Checking In also. She had a friend who she was always reaching out to and trying to connect, checking in with, and that friend wasn't doing the same to her. And she had to understand or learn that maybe in that person's life, they were the one reaching out and checking in with other people. And that she was the only person reaching out to check in with them. Yeah. And so I talked to my mom about it, because my mom, well, not about that, but like something similar. My mom would always say how she would do for people, or and always trying to, if somebody asked her to bring them somewhere or to do something for them or ask her for something, that if she had it, she would always give. But then some of those same people that when she would need something or need something done, that they wouldn't show up for her. And so what I told her was, when God blesses us, God blesses us to go out and bless other people. And when we do that, our blessings will come. So we don't do things for another person just because they did it for us. Because our blessings will come from other people and other places because we're blessing other people.
Not necessarily on that specific person.
Yes, not a back and forth. There are times where you have people in your life that is a give and take.
Yes.
But there are times where it's like sometimes they don't have the capacity to give to you.
It goes back to being. Does it go back to being self-absorbed?
What do you mean?
In regards to the expectation.
Like in a bad way?
No, not so much as a bad way, but reaching out to this person because I know if I reach out to them and ask, they'll do it, but not reciprocating that same energy.
I think like we sometimes put in our mind how we want things to be. How we want people to act and respond. And when they don't respond the way that we want them to in our mind, that's in our mind, then we get upset. We get disappointed based off of this idea that's in our head. But then we have to sit back and look and say, okay, if I need this person to show up, will they show up? And they may not be able to show up in every single aspect of the whatever it is that we need, but are they able to contribute in some way? So like if I let me see, I'm trying to think of an example, but I can't think of an example. Jesus, what's wrong with me? I'm trying to think of like a scenario or something. I'm good with these.
You are.
And it's not coming
you can
up.
give us
It's
a
not coming up.
good analogy.
Well, it's not coming to my mind. Well, anyway, what I'm trying to say is, let's think of a house.
Okay, there we go. Because I'm waiting for the analogy. Come on.
So when we think about a house, like in my house right now, like I said, we in other episode building foundation and the dirt and stuff like that. So when the contractor says we're going to build a new house, they don't go to one person and say, build this house.
Right.
They say, okay, I got this contractor that can do the land.
Yes.
They can dig up everything. They can put in the pipes and all that. Once they do that, now this next person can come in and they can do the foundation. Once the foundation is done, somebody else needs to come in, put up the woods and all that.
So moral of the story is
what is it?
Everybody is a specific thing or can be a specific thing in your life when it is needed.
They can contribute what's needed when it's needed. And so we can't go to the gardener and tell him, hey, I need you to fix my roof. Like that's not in my wheelhouse. I don't have the capacity to do that for you. So when we have certain people that are friends or the family members, we need to. Then I think that's a good thing to learn to do is what's this person's strength in my life. If this person, all they can offer me is a good time to go out and have a few drinks. If I'm down and if I say to myself, you know what, I need to get out and I need to be uplifted right now, and a good few drinks will make me feel better right now, that's the person that you go to.
Okay.
Now, if you sad and you depressed and you need help getting out of bed, you don't go to that person.
Okay.
Did that help?
Yeah, that helped. Yeah, did that help y'all? Put it down in the comments below. If y'all dealing with something, with somebody that you just kind of trying to navigate through, is that person there for you, or is that person a support to you in your mental health journey? Just put it down below how you are able to navigate and know who's there for you
and how they're there for you. Like they may not be there in the way that we expect them to, but like what can they contribute to us? What can they help with in our life? And I'm sorry that analogy took me.
Oh no, but it came right on time. It came right on time because I got that one. Yes.
But I think, overall, when we talk, how's your mental health? We have to learn that every day we're not going to wake up singing show tunes and things like that and just like smiling and happy every single day. And for me, when I first started going to therapy and like was taking therapy seriously, I was like, I'm good. Like therapy has helped me. I'm good. Then a couple of days later, a couple of weeks later, I wake up and I'm depressed. And I'm like, I thought I was past this. I thought I was good. But, you know, when I talked about things that my therapist had taught me about the feelings, behaviors, and thoughts, I had to learn how to apply that to my life, sometimes on a daily basis. So, like, you know, before we wrap up this episode, I want to talk about those small things that you do. I know you say you get up earlier, drinking your coffee, journaling, and things like that. So for me, in the mornings, I have my Google connected to my iTunes and Apple Music, whatever. And so if I wake up and I'm laying in bed and I start to feel like I don't want to get out of bed, like I don't feel good, like I'm stressed out right now. The first thing before I even get out of bed, I say, hey, I don't want to say the name now because we'll be like, like when I say them, like, hey, play my gospel playlist, play my Fantasia playlist, play my Life Jennings playlist, and that's while I'm laying in bed. By the time I get to that second or third song, I'm like, I'm ready now. I'm good now.
And you know what? I did the same thing with Alexa. You can set out like a little schedule or something on Alexa, and also you can put in there what you want her to say. So I did a little. It's called Alexa, Let's Get It. Okay. So every morning, I say, Alexa, let's get it. And she throws back affirmations for me. Awesome. These are things that I told her to say. So she's like, Marthea, you are loved. You are amazing. You're going to have a great day. That's
I love that.
So, and then after she does that, she tells me what the weather is so I can know how to dress for today. And then she plays I'm Every Woman. And so if you have Alexa, if you know, this is one of the things that you can do to kind of motivate yourself. Get on Alexa, do your routine for the day. Because she plays I'm Every Woman. She plays Carl Jenkins, Grace. And she plays Pastor Mike Jr.
Big? I know.
She plays Big. Those are my three songs.
Be big.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think, you know, it's those small things like that. And one of the terms in ABA that I use is called response effort. So with a response effort, we're looking at how much effort do I need to put in order for me to get the reinforcement that I need.
Right.
So when we're doing things like the Alexa, using the Google, I don't have to do anything. Like, I don't need to get out of bed to do anything. All I gotta do is just say these words, and then these songs are gonna start playing. And I know that when I hear those songs, it's gonna make me feel better.
Right.
So it's like, you know, creating something that we can do that requires the least amount of effort, but also makes the biggest impact in our days. And so there's times where, like, I don't do it just when I'm feeling down. Like, I wake up and if I'm feeling good, most of the time, if I'm not feeling my best, I'm going to gospel. But if I'm feeling good, then I'm playing some of my Life Jennings and my Fantasias and stuff like that. But no matter what, like, music itself is like that ministry for me that makes me feel good. So like I have my I didn't burn this candle, but like when I'm working in the office area, I put on a candle because like that's my favorite candle from Bath and Body Works right now is the margarita one. Like, I love that margarita one.
Okay.
I'll let you know.
Please. Because every time Bath and Body Works has a sale, honey, on the candle.
If you don't like this one, I'm gonna be shocked. But like it's those small things like that when we talked about the behavior, feelings, and thoughts, that's where we intervene in between, where it's okay, my behavior of not feeling good is not, like I'm behaving a negative way or not so conducive way. So let me intervene. Let me light this candle. Right. When I start smelling that candle, I start to feel good. And when I start to feel good, I start to think better and do things like that. And then it changes that cycle. Yeah. So what
energy?
Is there anything else that you do?
Besides that, I mean,
or even like something like that's like on a bigger scale, because like we talked about those like the small response effort things, but like what's like, since you've been able to, you know, get up early, drink your coffee, you know, got your Alexa going, journaling, like how I know you said it helps with the fasting and working and things like that. So what else like bigger?
I walk. I go outside and I walk.
Nice.
Around my neighborhood, and after a stressed day, after a long day, I know it's cliche, but it helps.
Yeah.
It helps
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
get out, let the sun, you know, shine on you. Now, before walking, before gas and got to $1 million, I too love music, and so I would get in the car, put on some music, and just drive.
Yeah.
Just drive. That was peace to me.
Yeah.
Can't do that.
Yeah.
Gas high.
Yes, it's too high.
So I'll get on the back of my porch.
Well, you got. I didn't come to your house because I like how your porch, because you got like the fence and everything. So, but it's like just land, right? No, you got water behind you. Yeah. So like I like water. So it's like. So
I get, you know, get my dog back there, sit back there, put on some music. It's so beautiful, especially at sundown, because the moon starts to come up and the moon glares off of the water.
Yeah.
So it's little things that have been helping in finding kind of like a balance.
Yeah, because I think, you know, it's those things like when, you know, earlier or other episode we talked about getting that detour and going on a different route. It's like when we take those opportunities to do something different, we fall in love with those smaller things. Like when I started riding a bike, like I knew how to ride a bike, but I started like biking for exercise and stuff like that.
Look, you made me want to buy a bike. I said, I was asking my daddy, can you buy me a bike? Because I was watching him, like, you were motivating me. I just never did, but I thought about it.
But that's the thing, like you're building that foundation. So like, you know, eventually, like if you keep it in mind and say, eventually I want to get to it, like once with your walking and working out and things like that, you're like, okay, let me try it now. And then like it'll be something you probably fall in love with. But like when I, like Emmanuel had got a bike and he was biking with his coworkers and like they were doing 20 miles, and I'm thinking to myself like, I'm not gonna do no 20 miles.
Yeah, so, fall.
But look, I got the bike and it was about almost a year ago, a little over. The first few times I went, I did like 3 miles, and I'm like, okay. Then I did 5 miles. Oh, just look at me, I did 5 miles on the bike. So then one day we did this thing called Critical Mass, which they do it the last Friday of every month. And it's through downtown. It'd be like hundreds of people. So we did the Critical Mass, and total it was like a little bit over 20 miles. And we did 10, took a break, then did the other 10. And so when I got done with that 10, I was like, I can't go back to 5. Because I'm like, I showed myself that I could do it. And so it's like now my minimum is 10.
Right.
My max is 20. No, I can say, like when I'm working out on my own, my max, like I try to shoot for 20. If it's a good day and I'm not feeling tired, like I can do more. Like we've done more.
Right.
But like just me working out on a regular day, like I have to do between 10 and 20 miles.
Okay.
And so that taught me that, you know, in that moment when I started, I wasn't conditioned. In the moment when I did something that my body at one point thought I couldn't do, I was like, this is your new standard. Right. And that was going back to that foundation of my starting off. You start off and do what you can do. If all you can do is 1 mile, you do 1 mile.
Yes.
And then you build up to do more and more and more. And so at first, riding a bike was because I with my legs and my knees and stuff from the military, it's hard for me to run and do a lot of cardio, so biking is good on my knees. Okay. So that was my way of getting in cardio. But once I started doing it, I'm like, this is relaxing. Like this makes me feel good. So like it went from being I'm doing this to lose weight and then to get healthy. Not this to get healthy, but I'm doing it to lose weight. I'm like, now this is my way to get healthy, not just physical, but mentally also.
Then it's get healthy. Now this is a way for me to relax, wind down,
Yep.
You know, so
like just going on the bike ride and saying, okay, I'm going to do me 10 miles because I need to relax.
Yeah.
Like most people won't think like you're going to do 10 miles to relax.
Yeah, it's
like,
altering your mind and we are, because we are, like you said, we're so conditioned because of how we were raised.
Yeah.
And so now just putting in those healthier practices can help with your mental health and just keeping it on a constant uphill.
Yeah.
You know, of course, not, you know, it's not going to be perfect every day. Yeah. It's not going to be the best day every day. Mm-hmm. But just taking those little strides, taking those little things that make you happy.
And like I said, we're doing it like when you start off small and you just do it every single day and it becomes a habit, then like as you add on to it, it makes it easier to do other things. It's like, and I think with creating goals and things, don't say, okay, I did this one thing for 3 days or 5 days. Now I'm going to add 5 more things on top of it. No. Just add one more thing.
Add one more thing.
Add one more thing. Add 2. Like something simple. And like when I was talking to my client, and she was like, one of the activities that I have her do, she was like, this is like, she feels like it's stupid. And I was like, because you haven't done it in your life, like you didn't see it growing up. So it's like once you learn to do something like this, I'm not going to get in detail, but it's like once you learn to incorporate this into your life, you'll see how doing that will help you to be consistent in the future with your goals, because this is an aspect of what you've been doing in the past or you haven't been doing in the past that's caused you to kind of not follow through with certain things. Right. And so like when we learn to change our perspective and our mindset, it makes so much of a difference.
And learning, knowing what to add, what to delete.
Yeah. Because
a lot of things need to be deleted.
And that's what I wanted to say when we were talking about like going outside and things like that. So like when I'm riding my bike, I do like 10 miles, it'll take about like 50 or so minutes to do 10 miles. So when I do the days like in the mornings when I go and I try to do more, if I do 20 miles and it takes me almost 2 hours to do 20 miles, that's 2 hours that I did not lay on the couch on Instagram and on Facebook and on TikTok and stuff. And it's like when we allow ourselves to disconnect from those things, because, you know, it's great that we can share and we can, you know, connect with people across the world and, you know, friends and family members and keeping up. But there's so much negativity on there, and I think that's gonna be a whole other episode about social media. But it's like there's so much negativity on there that
you have to detach.
And going back to, you know, when we talked about not saying the word negative and using a different word, we don't look at it as negative. Because it's presented in this nice package and bubble wrapped and things like that. So we're like, oh my God, this is so nice. But it's like you start to see things like, well, my life don't look like that. Oh, I wish I had this. Or oh, I don't look like that. Or like, you know, why they did this and why they did that. And it's like it's so much negativity, but we're not looking at it as negative.
Yeah, let's call it emotional poisoning.
Yes.
Because that's where that envy comes from. That's where that jealousy starts to happen. That's where that comparing starts to happen. And so that weighs on our mental health, you know?
Yeah, it does.
Just start standing in, first of all, your truth. Yeah. Acknowledging what it is that makes you happy. Taking those little steps to do those happy things, getting away from, you know, the self, what's the word I'm trying to use? The self-criticism, criticizing yourself. It's not, I mean, you're not perfect. I know as much as we want things to go perfectly, it's not. And I think that was one of the things that I had to, with my mom dying, that was one of the things that I had to say. It's not gonna go how I want it to go all the time. Even with my grandfather and the things leading up to his death, I'm like, it's not gonna go how I want it to go. And I'm becoming okay with that. But then it goes back to connecting with God, knowing that God is the head. Nothing comes to him without him knowing.
Yeah.
So, just keep pushing. I'm supporting. Yeah.
But yeah, I think, just, going back to, what we initially was talking about, how's your mental health, and with everything that's going on in the world, everything that we've discussed, it's a lot of personal requirements and personal expectations and things that we have to learn to do personally for our own well-being and our own mental health. Mm-hmm. And so those people that are out there struggling right now, we wish that we could be a support for everybody, but we have to accept that we can't reach every single person. There are people that are struggling that will never see these videos. Right. There's people that need someone to just hug them and tell them it's going to be all right. Mm-hmm. But if they're surrounded by people that are emotionally drained, emotionally stunted, they can't be that support. There's so many people that, they're coming from these families that mental health wasn't talked about. Mm-hmm. Being emotionally stable was not talked about. It was not taught. So that's why I believe these people go out into the world and they do these horrible acts. But it's like, if only we could reach everybody, but we can't. We talk about gun control and things like that. I think that would help reduce the number of mass shootings. But it's like, the people themselves are still broken. There's not just one thing that we can do. There's so much that needs to be done. Right. In order for us to heal the world. So we say make this season a season of healing. Is like, hopefully if you're watching this video, reach out to somebody. Reach out and say, how are you doing? Mm-hmm. Are you okay? Do you need to talk? If you are that person that needs to talk, reach out to somebody and say, hey, I need to talk. I'm not doing well right now. I need someone to be there for me. If that person can't show up, hang up the phone, call somebody else until you find somebody that can show up in the capacity that you need them to show up.
Right. But it takes you wanting to go there. Mm-hmm. It takes you wanting to dive deep within yourself to start moving into in a right direction to handle your mental health.
And I think, I have one of my friends, we came up with a plan where it's I think we did 1 to 10 or something like that. But it was whenever we need to, if we need a moment and need that time together, mm-hmm. we call each other and be like, hey, it's level 10 right now, mm-hmm. so I need you. So 10 means the first opportunity that I have, you have that. Yes. If it's a 5 within the next week or two, we need to make time. Yes. And so, a couple of weeks ago, she called me. She's like, it's a 10. Yes. I'm like, let me check my calendar. I'm available this day.
Get connected to someone, friend relationships are so beneficial. Yeah. If you have a best friend or just a friend that you're really close to, they are very beneficial in holding yourself accountable into getting out of those down times. Because just like you, I text my best friend. I said, hey, I need a bestie day. Mm-hmm. And so there's ways to, just not stay down and not stay in a funk. Just get connected. Get connected.
Because I have another one of my friends. You can't do it by yourself. Another one of my friends, whenever she's going through something and she needs to vent about something, mm-hmm. she'll call me, but the first thing she'll say, she's like, how are you? And are you in a good space to receive mm-hmm. what I'm about to say? Mm-hmm. And so there's times she texts me, I'll be like, I can't right now or whatever. I'm like, give me some time. Give me an hour, mm-hmm. 30 minutes, whatever. And it's for me, if I'm not in a good place mentally when she initially calls, I need to take that time mm-hmm. before to get myself in a place to receive it.
That's good. That's something that's on another episode, boundaries and relationships.
Yeah, that's one topic.
That's really good.
Yes, that's definitely one of the topics, and I think that is important. So but yeah, so overall, we posed the question to you all again: how's your mental health? Make sure that you guys are doing things to get to a place where you are mentally stable. And it's our health, our behaviors, all of those things are our responsibilities. We can we can use the help of other people to kind of support us along the way, but it's our responsibility to make sure that we're good. So, any last thoughts?
No. Like I said, my heart goes out to the families of the children. Life cut so short.
Yeah.
And even for the shooter, whatever his mindset was to go out and do that. I mean, I pray for him and his family, and I pray for the whole doggone world.
Yeah.
Because something needs to happen.
Yeah.
Something needs to happen.
I think it was Steve Kerr. That's his name. He's saying like, stop. While we're being silent, like we don't need to be silent. We need to scream from the rooftop, and this is us screaming right now. Like we need to do something. So thank you guys for watching.
Thank you.
Follow me on.
No, I just hope that you guys take something from this. One little thing can just change and, turn things around. So I'm really, I know we can talk about this for hours.
Yeah.
And I think that because we have not talked about it within the community, it makes you want to continue to talk about it. But y'all, just please get a hold. Take control of your mental health. It's so many suicides. It's just reach out to somebody.
Yeah, just small conversation, like it'll make a big difference. But yeah, like there'll be more topics related to mental health to come. But yeah, so I don't know. It's, like I said, I can go on.
We can continue, but I know we have to end. But down below, if you need a partner or somebody to just reach out to, just put a number or something, so that you can get the support. Yeah. But I'm Marthea.
What's your social?
You can find me on Instagram _living+_. You can find me on Facebook, Marthea Harris, and yeah.
And I'm Bobby Jare. You can find me on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok at Bobby Jare. So until next time, we're out. Peace.